Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are joined on the LCO with some of the most beautiful casters in the industry. We have Skimmy, we have Tally. How are you lads doing tonight?
Look, mate, I'm feeling fantastic. I can see now. I can be cute. I can be kawaii. I can be anime like you. We can get on the same page. Pike, how are you feeling, mate?
Oh man, I'm feeling really good. Like, it's my debut. I'm so excited. A little bit of nerves and jitters, but that's to be expected. But Tally, this is also your first time as a main stage. You're here for the long haul.
Yeah, I've been a guest a couple times, but happy to be in a permanent position. You know, talk about League. I love yapping about League of Legends, and happy to do it alongside Skimmy.
Oh, look, and Skimmy's just a beautiful soul. He's been here the longest, most experienced. The red hair is pretty good, but I'm going to have to start rivaling that soon. But we have a format we need to get through as we are on the LCO. Let's have a quick look at what this series is going to look like and what the split will be too. We have a best-of-2 single round robin leading up into a top 6 team advance to the LCO playoffs, then following into the top 2 teams advance to the PCS. It's basically split 1 all over again. But let's see what these teams are actually going to be going up to win as the prize pool is available. And look at that, a cool $30,000 going to be split up among these teams. Skimmy, that's a lot of Zinger Burgers.
It's a lot of Zinger Burgers that you and me could share on a really cute dinner date after this.
Oh, I like that. If we could go to that dinner date, I'll take you on that. But we have a schedule for tonight. Let's see what we're going to be seeing on your first night of the LCO, ladies and gentlemen. A big series of matches as we have our reigning champions first off the block, Round Zero Gaming versus Mammoth Esports Club. Then it will be followed into the Antic Esports and Direwolves at 8 o'clock. Mate, these are going to be some good games, Tally. Which are you excited for?
I would say pretty excited for the first series because I really want to see if Ground Zero were able to maintain that same form that they were showing towards the end of Split 1. I'm excited for that match.
Yeah, we got a couple roster changes and we're definitely going to go through that in a bit. But Skimmy, anything you want to say? Any game here that's looking like your favorite?
Every game's my favorite. I just like talking, Pike. Can you imagine that? I like talking so much that I keep re-signing every single split.
Look, I can't believe that at all, and that's fine, but I'm going to believe it because I trust you. I like your work. But we have some roster changes. As I mentioned, let's have a look at what these are going to be moving forward. Tally, take it away for us.
I think the big one that everyone's going to know straight away is Kevi Aladoric. These 2 powerhouse players are back in the scene. And another one that might pop up that is going to be confusing but very exciting for everyone is Incursio. I think that this player is really, really exciting to watch, and I can't wait to see if he's going to get his hands on Katarina.
Yes, give me any thoughts on... I'm looking at Praedyth as well, but any player in there looking fairly big for you?
Yeah, obviously you can't put it past Raze, right? The return of the king, the perfect player. So really excited to see what he can do. Obviously a link up with the likes of Dragu, a pairing that they've already gone together with. Obviously Tally was a teammate back then on the Chiefs, but also the role swaps. Your 2 finalists who were both support and jungler said, you know what? Enough of playing. We've talked the talk. Now we can, walk the walk and become a coach again.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was literally about to say the same thing. It's enough of playing as Benvi and Swipe are now moving up into those coach roles. I'm so excited to see what sort of rosters they can pull out. But I'm really looking forward to Raze as well. I think, yeah, Aladoric, Kevi on that Bliss lineup is going to look very big. But what's next for us, Skimmy? What are we looking at next?
Lots of different things. One thing that actually catches me off guard really quickly here is the fact that likes of Why Not and Kisei have actually left. Obviously, Kisei was such an integral part of what made Grand Zero so strong and essentially win the entire league, right? So I think it's a massive void to fill in.
And now, we do have that big voice, but we got some power rankings we need to look at. We need to see what we're going to be taking and pushing forward to the viewers to see who they should be putting all their bets on. And look at that, we're all looking at Bliss. But me putting Antic and GZ second, that's a little bit of a mix-up, but we're looking pretty much the same, Tally. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the top 4, even with all the roster changes that we'll get to see soon, I think it's pretty much the same. I think the teams will probably place around the same positions. The hard one to look at is 5th through 8th. I think that there's so much ups and downs for these teams, and we can really see upsets happen against the top teams, or even the bottom teams not taking away games that they should be.
Yeah, Skimmy?
Yeah, I think the top 3 for me is pretty unanimous. I think we've all got a slightly different take on it, right? But I think top 3 is a little bit top heavy. I have a lot of faith in Ion after how strong they were last season. To showcase a little bit of a dark horse potential again. As for the rest of the league, yeah, I think 5th through 8th, obviously top 6 makes it through to the playoffs, but I think that's also volatile. 1 game, 1 patch, 1 champion really could be the crowning factor.
Yeah, it's 100%. I think I've sort of followed along that narrative. It being my first split too, I was sort of just going off names, seeing what I've seen before, and I was looking at Bliss and I was like, look, they're just looking so good. But also Antic, GZ, looking really fine. I put Kanga up there as well. I think there's a couple names in there that are going to be looking very nice. But let's jump over to the next section and see what's going on. As we do have just a little bit of... well, this is actually what we thought. This is me and Tally both betting on Antic. Tally, what do you think of this?
Well, the main reason I want to talk about Antic is I really like what they did with their roster, even though they lost like 2 integral players in like Roamer and King. I think that like picking up Raze is a side grade or an upgrade on King. And I mean, it's really unfortunate losing Roamer. I think he's a really good player, but I'm really excited to see what Incursio can do, because he's like he's a player that strives in chaos, and like people who watch his stream or see him in solo queue will know this. And I think that Swiper going to coach and picking up Foreigner is a really good choice. I think that Foreigner showed a lot of prowess on Ion last split, and I think that he's a really good player to work around such strong carries.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. I think that the take from Foreigner off of Ion from last split, I think he's been having such a performance, but Incursio as well is just this champion we've seen before, was on a legacy lineup not too long ago, so really keen to see how they're going to perform back on this main stage. It's a whole new game now from a couple of years ago, but let's see who Skimmy's betting on and really wanted to talk about now.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to flip the script completely. Whilst you boys are going for the favorites, I'm actually going for one which is a bit of a wild card, because you'll notice there are 4 household names on this roster, with a new one in the top lane there. But for the likes of both Praetif, Gunkrab, as well as Voice, these are 3 AD carries forced into a team, and it's like, good, make it work. Praetif started life as a top laner, went to bot lane, took a break, came back, said, you know what, bet, I'll play mid lane. Gunkrab obviously has spent a bit of time as an AD carry, went to support, now returns as a starting position in the AD carry position. Also Voice, he was just on Antic as a sub. He's going to come back and say, you know what, I don't want to be King's understudy, I want a starting position. To get the starting position, I need to be a support. I think the interesting thing that me and Tally were discussing a little bit briefly before is the fact that in that bot lane, because they've had that role malleability, like, does that mean we're going to see some weird and wacky drafts, like a Gunkrab Xerath into a Seraphine from Voice? Like, I think that bot lane, there could be a lot left up for interpretation. So it's spicy, it's exciting. I think they could cause a few rumbles.
Yeah, well, 100% on that there, getting those tusks up and ready to go. But I'm also looking at Praetif in that mid lane now too, known as that AD carry sort of player. I'm curious to see if he's going to start pulling in like the Tristanas, maybe even like some kind of off-meta like Caitlyn Varus into the mid lane too, if they feel like going some big crit. But we got a couple things. We got the patch notes, because we are on 14.10. Let's just jump in and have a look at these and see what we're going to be playing with. Tally.
I think there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to look at in your screen right now, but it's a lot of the changes are quite niche. Like the champions that we see buffed, like I think Viego, honestly, one of the really big ones. Like being able to become a lane again, we saw him like way back in the past in the Gwen Viego meta. A lot of success. Cassante was already OP, and a lot of the other champions are just being compensated for losing lethal tempo. I think really big one to touch on is Corki. Like as we all know, like he lost the package, but he's been changed to he's more old auto attack traditional style. He's more of like a Samira-esque, like he will like dive in and blow you up if you aren't respecting his damage anymore. And like all the items, it's just more shift towards AD carry power.
Yeah, no, I do agree, but look at that. The Blackfire Torch as well here, Skimmy. It's a big item that's been on everyone's sort of lips, and especially used in so many games. Let's have a chat about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brand new item that's come out on this patch. There was a sort of distinct lack of mana items, right? When the Mythic system being axed, they said they needed a little bit more added into the mix of things. So the likes of this, as well as Ludens, have had a nice little quality of life buff to sort of basically put them in a separate category. I'm sure Tally knows this one inside out, being a mid lane proficionado himself. I suppose, for me personally, more interested in the items for the AD carries, right? Obviously, a whole bunch of new ones have been brought in. Navori Quick Blades out. Now it's called Flickerback. Crit's gone. The attack damage is gone, right? It's all about a Zeal item now. Overlord's Boots, as well as the Symbiotic Souls. That's an interesting one for me, right? The fact that Boots and Mobies was always a very niche one, like a Blitzcrank, Nautilus, like those roaming champions. They weren't happy with it. Now you've actually got a quest. You can play the game, go for a roam, and then suddenly you can get an Empowered Recall. So forget about losing that Baron when you own 15 as a support. You've got the Empowered Recall whilst the rest of your team suffer. But I don't know, Tally, do you have any dark tech to talk about this Blackfire Torch?
Not so much dark tech. It's kind of just like it's a nice niche to fill, because a lot of mid laners would be forced into Seraphs as like their only option, because no one really wants to build Ludens on like the scaling mages. But now that you have access to this other like wave clear enhancing item, it's a bit nicer because it also amplifies the damage you do. It gives a bit of HP, like the more AP you have. So it's just like, it's a nice item to fill. I think it's more so like power to the jungle. I think we'll see a lot of AP junglers come out, not so much AP mids, because I think that like you don't really want to play double AP mid jungle. So, you know, we'll have to see what teams prioritize with this.
Yeah, and talking about sort of like that prioritization, we talked about slightly that Corki change, and we've actually got this up here, sort of like your main build. But Skimmy, I'd love for you to talk this, and then Tally, I want you to finish it off, because this Corki has just been running rampant in solo queue.
Well, it really has, and we were looking at this before, Tally and I, and sort of seeing, okay, where is it actually being played across the world? And it does change. Like, globally, it is still, you would say the rework was a success in that it's being played bot lane primarily, but elsewhere in the world, still it is seeing a lot of love in the mid lane. Now, what's interesting for me is we've got on screen here that we're maxing our Q first, which would be the go-to, but you're seeing more and more of the Gatling gun actually get buffed and, you know, leveled up first instead, because it just gives you so much trading power. It's been buffed to actually ramp up quicker. And if somebody makes that one wrong trade or goes in for the minion, you can just Valkyrie on their head, Gatling gun with Halo Blades, Lethal Tempo, whatever it may be. Not Lethal Tempo, Fleet Footwork. It's gone. It's deleted. But with Fleet Footwork, you can just do so much burst damage. On screen, you can see it's like a traditional crit build. You can go lethality if you want to try and burst and spike and just win the game in 15. But I would say that the rework so far has been a success, but I wouldn't be amiss to seeing some gameplay in the mid lane today as well.
Yeah, Tally, what do you think?
Yeah, it's like to add on to what Skimmy said, it's not so much like the Corki you see sits 5 screens back, throws a rocket, and you have to base. It's a lot more of the auto attack based Corki. We've seen many different builds. We've seen like the Triforce first, Essence Reaver first, full lethality Corki. Like there's just so many different options you have. You can be an aggressive laner, a scaling laner. It's also a flex pick. So I really expect to see super high priority from teams on this champion, because I think that he is something you want to draft around right now.
Yeah, no, true. So now that we've looked at Corki in this bot lane and mid lane, let's look at the jungle and look at Skarner. With that rework, he is going to be enabled for this series as well, so we could see a Skarner on the table. But Skimmy, this is a pretty big rework. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a pretty big rework. Ultimately, the champion now has CC on all 4 abilities. Slows, stuns, you name it, he's got it right. Suppressions, it's broken. The one that stands out to me in particular is his E, his charge, which essentially functions similar to like a Nunu and a Scion charge towards you. Very hard to maneuver left and right, but you can actually go through terrain like you're a Kayn. So suddenly you're just popping across the wall. The enemy can see where you're looking to try and path towards, but you can set up a CC combo like that. The Impale, once upon a time, it was a click, very hard to, get away from it, right? Flash Impale, you can't do much about it. Now it's actually got a bit of a cast time, and it kind of like curves it way in. So it becomes a little bit harder if the person's further and further back, but you can grab up to 3 people with it, which could be kind of devastating these massive team fights. And there have been rumblings that it's not just a jungler. I've seen it in support. I've seen it in top lane too. Very much a bruiser champion that wants to punch on, so things like Grasp, Heartsteel, you name it. Even if you're losing the team fight, you at least get to walk away with a silver lining.
Yeah, no, it's going to be quite interesting to see if we're going to see a Skarner at all. I'm hoping to see a Corki, though. No package is still a little bit sad in my heart, but still, Champion's going to be phenomenal. Now, ladies and gentlemen, sit tight. Go grab a drink. We're getting ready for game number 1. We're going to see who's going to take home the first game of the night. Ground Zero Gaming versus Mammoth Esports. You don't want to miss this one. You'll have to see in just a minute, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, mind.
Kevy's up, it becomes Tavares. Falls down on the stopwatch, it's carnage! They're all charmed at his command! Oh, Tavares! It's do or die!
And the choo-choo train on is cometh as we are looking straight at ground zero here. Tally, what do you make of this team? They're looking fierce.
Yeah, I think Ground Zero, they had a really good showing in Split 1, and I'm glad that they kept like their core, players like in Dean, Schoenfire, and Lemus. As you can see, we have lost Ben B to the coach role, unfortunately, but I think Kurak is a really good pickup here. I think he had a really good showing on Ion, and I think he was like top 3 or top 2 supports, and obviously the big one is Fido in mid lane. We've lost Kisei to Brazil, unfortunately, but I think that Fido is the correct playstyle to fill his shoes. I think that he has that X factor in him, and I think that's what Kisei brought to the team. So we'll see how they go.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Fido stepping up here, but Skimmy, I know you've probably got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll sort of want to echo the same points that Tally already mentioned, right? You've kept the core 3, so you've got that strong leadership in the likes of Schoenfire, the carry flex potential in Tien, and the robust Titan in Lemus that's always going to be able to do whatever you need of him. And I think, yeah, going from Ben V to Kurak, you'd be quite happy with that one. I'm sure Ben V can look to him as a young upstart prodigy who was quite keen to show us a whole bunch of different champions, right? He gave us Zillion, Ornn, Maokai in the bot lane, right? So I'm excited about that one, but same can be said for mid lane. Kisei, arguably the best mid laner we've had in a long time, especially since Tally's retired anyway. Fido comes into that one and says, I do have the X power, the star factor rather, I can play. We went through the bingo checklist before, didn't we? Like the Tristan is the rise of the Cassiopeia, the Zia, whatever it may be. If you need a carry, I'll be there for you.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, but we're going to have to see what their competition's going to look like as we have Mammoth that's going to be in their game. And again, some fantastic names. Skimmy, they're your team to look at. So Praedith as well, Voice, Gunkrab, Gudo. It's looking like a good roster, but Skimmy, what do we need to be watching out? Which lane are we focusing on?
Well, I'm actually, like I sort of mentioned before, I'm really curious about how this bot lane's going to function. Is it going to be a situation where we are actually flexing, between who plays the AD carry and who plays the support? Obviously, the center, fasting center variation is a very standard one these days, but I would like to see some craziness with some AP mages brought into the fold of things. For me, the big one is, what does Praedith's identity look like in the mid lane? I asked him the other day when I was playing games with him, I said, since when were you a mid laner? Oh, since the other week, mate. So he's already ready. He's locked in, he's ready to go, and maybe, okay, I'm not going to try and put out some hearsay, but maybe after all the years of me commentating that he's getting caught in mid waves as an AD carry, he says, you know what, bet, I'll play mid lane, then I'm always caught.
Yeah, Tally.
I mean, he's just one step ahead of you, Skibby. What can you do? I'm actually curious, because they have 3 AD carries, right? I'm curious, if they're going to role swap. I feel like a lot of these players do have experience playing support, AD, and mid, so, I don't know if they're going to, change their positions based on what champions are available, or if it's just going to be they're stuck in these roles for the entire split. But I don't know, it's exciting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be quite good. This game as well, first game of the night, we should all be super excited for this. It's the reigning champions right now looking to take on a team that might not have had the greatest split last time, but I'm super keen to see how it's going to look. But what do we have coming up next as well is who knows what, but what are your predictions for this game? What are your thoughts? Skimmy?
Well, I know it's going to be a game of 2 halves. There's going to be one game on one side, one game on the other side, and then we'll get a winner. That's usually how it goes.
I like that. Tally.
Yeah, Skimmy spot on once again. There's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. But if I'm locking in, if I'm being serious here, I'd probably say I expect the Ground Zero 2-0 pretty comfortably. I think that they have a lot to prove from Split 1, to show that they're still the top dog, because Bliss is coming in with this super team and it's move over, it's our turn, but, I think that Ground Zero still has a lot to prove if they want to, take it again.
Yeah, it's all about getting those skills up and getting the competition up so you can start walking into PCS and having a bit of love there and showing off those skills. So quite excited for that. I am curious as to know when this game's hopefully going to start so we can get you guys into this cast and find out what's going to be going on. But Skimmy, any thoughts again on the side of Ground Zero? I know they're the reigning champions. Are you excited to see these guys? Is there any peak content you'd like to see? Any sort of matchups or change-ups you'd like to see?
I just want to see Schoenfire absolutely gap like he does all the time, right? I don't know what he's going to go for on this new patch. Is he going to be like a Skarner player? Is he just going to run it back and say it's Talia, it's Brand, whatever, Lee Sin? It's any ability for me to punch on and be aggressive. I think for me, yeah, Schoenfire watching his ability to, do those dives into the bot lane to get his team ahead, for him to navigate where, the action would be to get ahead. I think it's second to none. Obviously, Goodo is incredibly experienced, and he's had his highs and his lows, right? Peaked when he joined Order, and I thought that was a really good roster for him. He's had a little bit of a break and come back, but I think still serves the ability to function similar, I would say, to Shenfire in a way. He can go like the Kindred and just 1v9, or he can be a bit of a facilitator and, like, you know, look to try and protect his laners.
Yeah, well, we are going to be talking to one of those fantastic players now. It is going to be Fighto over from the Mammoth roster. Mate, how are you going tonight? How are you feeling as the first game off the block?
Yeah, just euphoric, to be honest. Just really excited to play.
I can feel it coming off you. You're getting so excited. I can almost, the tension is almost palpable. But what are your thoughts moving into this series? You excited to be playing for Mammoth?
Yeah, actually Mammoth was one of the teams that I was considering joining before the start of the split. So it's a bit of a bittersweet feeling for them, maybe playing against me, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, brilliant. Skimmy?
No, Fido, obviously, beautiful to see you again. The only concern for me is the fact that you're in the 4th camera block, not in the 2nd and 3rd, like, next to me. So what does it feel like to retire, become a caster, then unretire, and then go back to being a player again?
It's a lot of fun. You know, maybe I'll retire again and become a caster and do the whole loop back and forth, because I think it reignites your passion, right? When you do something different, when something becomes stale, and then you take a break for it, and you kind of remember how much you love it, and you come back to it, and you get a lot of motivation, I think.
Speaking of, quick question for myself is, what kind of spicy picks are we cooking? Now, obviously, I've sung your praises many times over the years, the likes of, you know, your classic Azir, Cassiopeia. We know your Rise. But we've seen you utilize that dark tech with like a mid-lane Varus. Are we cooking anything crazy for Split 2?
Absolutely. I'm the head chef at Ground Zero. I've been doing some illegal picks in the drafts, and it's been working.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Tally, any questions for Fighter before he races off?
I mean, first of all, welcome back. It's good to see you playing again. I just want to, like, you know, pick your mind. Like, what do you think about, like, the current mid lane meta? Do you think it's shifted much since MSI with, like, the new items coming out and, like, different champs being buffed? Or do you think it's, like, pretty similar right now?
Yeah, I think it's completely different in the sense that the mages that dominate right now are the ones that abuse the new item, right? It's kind of like the middle ground between Ludens and Malignants, where it's cheap and it gives a lot of AP and helps you hit breakpoints on the wave on a lot of champions. So we might see things like Victor come back, things like Hui. Any champ that can abuse that item, I think, will be popular.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Fido. It's been an absolute joy having you on. I'm so excited to see you play back on the split after so long, taking that little break. So thank you so much, man. Have a great night and good luck in your games.
See you guys.
Mate, Fido, absolute delight every time. First time actually, I think, properly chatting with him, which was kind of nice. So that felt kind of good and got the warm feelings going. Now I feel bad for rooting against them. I feel almost guilty a little bit, but we do have Ground Zero as well. Sort of the favorite in this matchup too. But what do you guys think? Do you think they've got some dark tech? You mentioned that, Skimmy. Are you excited for that?
There's potential. Look, I'm not gonna try and throw you know, previous ideas out there for you here, Pike. But I know once upon a time when Mac was hosting, he got persuaded. You know what? I'm actually not gonna go for the favorite just for Fighto alone. There was so much reason in that interview that Fighto convinced him, go for the 2-0, bet on me. He told us that he's the head chef. I don't know what he's cooking. I don't know what Tally's smirking at, because maybe he knows something from solo queue. But I'm excited for some absolute craziness to try and, you know, bridge the gap.
Well, Tally, that smirk sort of says it all. Like, what are you thinking here? Have you got some sort of dark secrets that you're holding back that you and Fido have been cooking up?
No, I've just been on the other end of, like, the dark tech that he's cooked up. Like, I know there's some absolute monstrous picks he has in the back of his pocket, and I'm really curious with the, like, AP junglers being so strong, you know, like, if he does want to pull out, like, the Fighter special in Akshan. Like, I think that champion is, like, slept on a little bit. Like, it's kind of OP in the early game to, like, bridge those AP junglers, like, weak early game. So we'll see if it is something that he wants to pull out.
Yeah, we were talking about that offline as well before. Like, we wanted to see like a global revive as like an ability or like an item again. And we were sort of like, oh, how cool would that be? We were like, Akshan? And then we were all sort of like, oh yeah, I guess. So I'm keen for that too. I think I'm excited to see what Mammoth's going to really pull out. Like I said, they didn't have necessarily the greatest split last split as well, but it's a whole new split. It's a whole new roster. Let's see what they can pull out. What sort of tech can they be cooking up? Like you said, it's the head chef. Like, look, when you ask the head chef what he's cooking, you sort of don't want to question it. You just got to eat it and make sure it's tasty. And if it's not tasty, you don't want to tell him that, because it's just going to be bad for you. But Skimmy, we've got Ground Zero as well. Do you think they're going to be cooking up something?
Always.
Do you think they're going to be cooking anything?
Always.
Always?
Absolutely always. If anything, they're going to be cooking on their trophy just to show off just how good they are.
Ooh, yeah, I do love that. But we do have the next interview. It is with Praedyth. Mate, welcome in and welcome back to the show. And welcome back to the game. How have you been? How have you enjoyed your time off?
It's been great. I've been watching LCO. I've been watching all the regions. I've been playing much solo queue, but I've been watching all the games, and I really want to come back. And I really want to come back as a mid laner so I can do more stuff than AD carry do.
You basically saw all the competition in the mid lane, and you saw it's just Kisei. That's fine. I can beat that. Now Kisei's gone. Are you looking to take those shoes?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about doing this actually, but then I feel like the top 3 mid laners were like looking pretty scary last split, and then being like whatever they were, Bliss, Antic, and Kisei, and then Kisei left, and now the other 2 didn't look very good. So I'm pretty excited, and now Ground Zero have like Fido as a mid laner, so like that guy was, you know, like maybe like the E tier player when I was playing, so I mean, it should be a pretty easy first opponent.
I'm liking the confidence, but Skimmy, anything you want to ask Praedyth while we got him?
Look, Praedyth, obviously we had a fantastic chat the other day in the Dead Minds as to you know, where life is at right now and why you've come back to playing competitively. But I want to ask, you know, what kind of champions are we bringing into this mid lane? Are we thinking like AP Kaiser, Lucian, the likes of like your AP Ezreal that you've shown before?
We'll have to see, but like I have played Azir and Lux and whatnot in bot lane in on stage games in LCO and OPL, so I can play anything I really want to play mid. So like I think it's kind of a waste of bans to try to ban me out. I'm just gonna pick whatever's best and whatever I'm enjoying the most. So I mean, I probably couldn't even tell you what I'm gonna pick today. I'll have to see what I feel like on stage.
Easy.
Tally, anything you got for Praedyth?
I mean, first of all, welcome to your 3rd role swap. You know, it's a great title to have. I just want to ask, like, how are you finding mid lane? Because it's your like 3rd role swap, obviously, but is it like what you expected? Because I know in the past, like, you've off-rolled mid a lot, so you've played it a decent amount. But you know, now that you're actually playing the role, is it, you know, meeting your expectations?
I think like playing the normal matchups is like, it's a lot like less interactive than I thought, because I remember at least like back in the day, it used to be like mid lane 1v1 was like such a crazy thing with, you know, like antics and whatnot, and like you just get pressured all the time and it was really hard. But now it just seems like the lane kind of plays itself and it's just relying on like your team. So I mean, I'm a loud voice, so I can get my team to help me out a lot, and I'm like not really worried about laning phase. And I think, you know, I get more agency after lane to do stuff I want to do, and that's like basically why I wanted to role swap first place.
Yeah. All right, awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Praedyth. This is such a joy. Like, funnily enough, you're actually one of the reasons I actually started playing AD carry back in the day, so it's actually awesome just to be here and just having a nice little interview with you, mate. Good luck. I can't wait to see you in the mid lane, which is now my role too, so you got to live up to that hype as well.
Oh.
But, mate, good luck in those games. I know you're going to crush it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Well,
There you have it.
we have our 2 interviews. They're both just as excited as each other. Maybe one more so. I couldn't really tell, but that's okay. We have quite a lot in store for games going tonight. But we got some from the fans. My first from the fans. I'm so excited for this one, as we do have a couple little predictions. I think the from the fans was, tell us your power rankings for Split 2. Funnily enough, some of the best answers we got was like, can we see the rosters first? But we have some rosters out now. We have some answers. Let's look at the first one and see what they've decided to tell us and who they think is going to be taking home the win. First one is Fretro, preseason power rankings. They got Antic, then into GZ and Bliss. Look, it's looking pretty similar to us, but Antic coming in number 1. What do you think about that, Tally?
Honestly, respectable. I think that like what happened last split as well, like we kind of underrated GZ, who ended up winning the split. So I think there's a lot more to a team than good players. You know, it's also like how they mesh, how their coaching staff works, like what the patch is. Like a lot of these things come into factor when it comes to winning a split.
Yes, that whole getting Swiper into that coaching role, which we know he was already trying to get into, is going to make big waves considering his history in his coaching overseas. But Skimmy, do you sort of like this power rankings in front of us?
Well, I love it because from 4th to 8th, we're an exact copy-paste. So clearly we're aligned here as to how we think the bottom half of the ladder is going to pan out. But I think, yeah, top 3, like we said at the top of the show, right, that really can come down to just whatever the patch looks like, the champion, just the team momentum in the moment of things, right? I think all of us had different rankings as to who would win out split 1. So, yeah, I'm expecting a lot of variation on that.
I'm excited. We're all excited. Let's have a look at our next one that's coming up on your screen right now. It is going to be Benvi, the coach himself, looking at GZ Bliss in second place. I don't know, might be a little bit biased, but Antic in third. Again, bottom of the ladder's looking very much the same, but Benvi, I don't know, the bias is feeling a bit too strong, but Skimmy, do you agree with him?
Well, I think if he got told to say anything else, then probably like gun pointed to his head, right? Like, you know, you have to say this. So of course he's going to bet on himself. He's the reigning champion for good reason too. He said, look, boys, I made it look ever so easy. Now I'm going to retire and tell you guys how to get it done. And if you don't respect me, well, you should, because look at his winner's medal. So... Yeah. Look, I think he has to rock that one. I think for me, the biggest change up is the fact that he's got Direwolves in 4th. I think a couple of us actually, maybe me and Tally, had put them a lot lower. So either they've seen something in scrims or just a lot of belief in the players from solo queue.
Yeah, Tally, anything on that?
Yeah, I personally had Direwolves in 5th, but you know, I mean, this is coming from Benvi. Like, this has to be the Bible. You know, he's leaking scrims. Like, this is the rankings, guys. How much to really go against it?
Yeah, it's actually quite curious because we never really think about the rankings like scrims and stuff as well, but we have the final one that we have from you, your power rankings from the viewers. We got Zeus Hunter coming in, first place Bliss, GZ Antic. Again, it's looking so good, but there's the Direwolves 4th. These people just seem to know something we don't, and it's got me concerned. I feel like my power rankings are looking shocking, but Tally, again, it's looking pretty standard across the board.
Yeah, I think like this is pretty close to like what I had. Yeah, once again, like 4th through 8th, really up in the air. I think that like our top 3 are locked in. I think that like that 4th and 5th position, it's really between Ion and Direwolves in my head. But you know, we'll have to see.
Yeah, Skimmy, any final words?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's the dark horse again, right? We've always coined it as Ion, and I think a few of us are banking on him making another top 4 performance, but that's 2 now that are going for Direwolves, so clearly between them, it's either they're the scrim gods or solo queue absolute weapons, in which case I'm excited to see if there's any, you know, more of this dark tech, which is going to be my buzzword for the day. You know what? I've settled on that. Dark tech. I'm going to use that as many times as I can.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's a good little... okay, are we going to have a counter in chat, though? I think we need to get someone in Twitch chat to make sure we've got a tally for you, just to make sure. Maybe get a mod on there. Just to make sure
tally, I get what you did there.
Yeah, so you get it. I'm going to use those puns all the time now. I've decided. I had a full-on intro planned around that too, by the way. Couldn't do it. That's okay. Not production's fault. It's my fault for planning something too awesome. But still, I'm super excited for it. Tally's excited for it. Skimmy, you're always excited. It's almost... It makes me feel like I'm less excited, but still, I'm very excited too. But now, we got a lot going on. We got too much going on. We got these games coming up. I'm pretty keen for them. What do you think, though? No, that's not what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, Skimmy, are you excited to be back, though? I think we haven't had a chance to really talk about who's in it, but we also have a game prediction. Guys, it's your Twitch vote chat before we ask Skimmy why he's excited to be back. I think it's up in... that corner. Are we doing the points?
Can I get it?
It's that one. Ah.
Hell yeah.
Going straight up. But don't forget to put in your predictions, ladies and gentlemen. It's the only way to get those magnificent channel points. I know I'll be placing a bet really soon, unless they give me that mod, which I don't want it. I just want to place bets. Let me place the bets. I'm all good. But Skimmy, are you just excited to be back, mate?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah,
now that I've been told I should be excited, I don't want to be excited. I'm gonna be like a tantrum baby now. You can't tell me what to do. I'm gonna be happy because I want to be happy.
Well, I'm just gonna go then, right? I'm just gonna bail. Like, the door's right behind me. But no, mate, absolutely. I know you're excited. But Tally, it's your first time too. How are you feeling?
I mean, excited, like nervous, obviously, because I don't have much experience like with casting compared to Skimmy, but I'm just excited to get into it. You know, I love talking about League. I love talking about like player stories. Like, I love talking about like champions. You know, it's just League of Legends is a great game. Thank you, Riot. Thank you, Freak. The current balance is fantastic. You know, good job. Keep up the good work.
That's it. But now that we are going to be talking a little bit more about League, let's look at our predictions for tonight. I'm very excited to see this one. Who's going to be placing what We've all gone ground zero. I think we've all sort of predicted it. Who would have thought? We sort of were highlighting this team. It is the reigning champions. It makes a lot of sense. But Tally, why have you gone for ground zero?
Exactly what you said. Like they're the reigning champs. I think that like they kept their talent, or they've side graded or upgraded on their missing players. I think that team is still really good, and I expect them to show big things.
Yeah, Skimmy, why did you go for ground zero? You can't use the same excuse as us.
Okay, well, let's just say all of the above, plus the fact that it should just be a great demonstration of, okay, these players, they've played enough in the scene, they should just be able to slot themselves in. Obviously, Curate being the exception, but I think him being a new talent showed exceptional promise for him to get that nod, to go from where he was to the reigning champions, shows the level of potential and ability that he already has. So, yeah, excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to get those couple changes coming in. And apologies, production, what was that? Just while I was still talking about ground zero moving forward, I'm super keen to see how they're actually going to step up and really take control of these games, right? I think that's the one thing we've sort of missed in a lot of the games is taking those early leads, taking those early plays, and really extending them. I think the last time we saw that was Tally with that 16-minute win. So I'm really keen to see how they're going to do it. Do you think there's anything that these teams could really highlight and try to pull out of their hat in this split compared to last split, Skimmy?
I think it's all about forming an identity. Obviously, it's a little bit easier for the likes of Ground Zero because, as you said, you've got that core three that you can build around and say, all right, we've had Kisso, we've had Benvi in this position before, but you're going to bring this to the table. So I think this is obviously a lot easier. As for Mammoth, that's where I've got the concerns about, right? You've got 3 AD carries, role swaps galore, players that haven't played for a little bit of time coming back. How quickly can they mesh? How quickly can they figure out who wants to be at the star of the show? Who needs the resources and who doesn't? Because, as I'm sure we've learned, all AD carries are incredibly greedy. That camp is mine. That mob is mine. That wave is mine. Go back to base.
That's, yep, 100%. But we're going to have to look at side selection now as well and see who's going to be playing where for your first game. We're going to be able to see that game 1, it is GZ picking up blue side, and game 2, Mammoth picking blue side. What are your thoughts on the blue side pick? I know it's always been a bit of a fan favorite, but we saw a lot of red sides last split as well. But is blue side still the favorite now, Tally?
Yeah, well, in like recency bias, like MSI and last split, blue side was like the side. Like if you got that, you pretty much won. I didn't even know if it was so much like a pick. It was just like maybe it's a camera angle thing. But blue side just kept winning all the time. I think that like it was probably to do with bans, but you know, games completely changed now. Different priorities, different first picks. So we'll have to see what Mammoth and GZ do want to like prioritize with their first pick, because that usually defines what you want to draft. Whether it's a Caitlyn or a Corki, or maybe it's an AP jungler that's particularly OP, we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do sort of leave yourself open to that counter pick as the last pick on red side as well, so we'll have to see how that's going to play out. But Skimmy, any thoughts on the blue side prioritization?
First pick Skarner, and then Bob's your uncle. We're done. Wrap it up. We've seen the champion in action. Day's done.
Day's done. It's almost too easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you're playing the Rock Scorpion. Mm-hmm. And you're just laughing your way to the bank, or to the Nexus, or the bank. Either or.
Or to
There's
Boris.
the shop as well.
Boris the
But
shopkeeper.
we do have some pretty big gameplays coming forward to you soon. I believe, what do we have next? Unfortunately, here's Skimmy. I'm not even sure, but again, where are we going with all
That's
of
okay.
tonight? Like, are you excited for the 2 O's? Are you excited for these games?
If you don't know where we're going, then let's just talk about blue side even more. So
Yeah.
here's what a blue minion looks like. Now, look at it, embrace it, imagine it. When this HP bar goes from this big down to this big, you need to right-click or use a spell to get money. Oh, and then there's the red minion, and because the camera angle's on the other side, it's harder to hit. That's what Tally told us. That's a pro's experience. Boom.
It's almost
Mic
too
drop.
easy. But you know what that means, guys? That means we can go straight into Champion Select. We're in for game number 1. Let's take it away. I'm getting out of here.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much there, Pike. Let's lock and load into this one here, Tally, as we get to see what is the priority, what is banned, what is first pick worthy. And I think no surprises, right? The Skarner gets denied, but then the Corki gets first picked.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much what we expected. We thought the Corki would be like this staple pick. I'm really surprised by the Sejuani Ivan bans. I think this is like probably Goodo's like bread and butter. Like I do remember Goodo in the past being like an Ivan guy, so like they just want to get rid of that volatility since it's not something you would play against all the time. But then we do instantly see the flex being broken, which is surprising. They're taking the Jhin and the Leona, so we'll have to see like why they want to do this.
Yeah, it's a bit curious to me as well, as you say, that they want to reveal very early on that, hey, these are where the champions are getting locked in, and this is exactly what they're going to be try and be about. As for Mammoth, well, they've gone for a bit of a blast to the past, right? The return of Jinx, pair that with Nautilus, lots of aggression, nice and easy for the likes of those two to get their hands on. But I'm curious as to, well, there's your answer, what was going to be played in the mid lane. Now, you got yourself Ahri. You'd imagine in Gudo would play something quite nice to complement that one, so they've got a really strong 2v2, and I think that's always been a hallmark of a good team, right? Is how good is their 2v2, because that tends to be the heart and soul of a team.
Yeah, I expect to see GZ ban out like the Lee Sin, the Vi, like get rid of all these pairings with Ahri that Gudo is known to be really strong at. Whereas Shernfire still has his pick up in the air, like there's the Lilia, which is going to fall down if he wants to play that. I can't really think of any other AP jungles off the top of my head right now. But he still has like tons of options, and I really like the Nautilus as well from Mammoth. I think that like taking this staple lockdown champion against like Corki is what you need to do against this champion. I think that like you can't really win the front to back against this, like the true damage. It's just way too much. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, and I think also on the topic of Nautilus, it was the go-to pick, right? The defining pick during the playoffs, during the finals at DreamHack especially, where whichever support got to roam first tended to influence the other lanes and just simply win the game as a result. So the tax of paying attention to your minimap is going to continue as two APs are banned away on the side of Mammoth with the likes of Talia and Rumble, as opposed to Lee Sin and Viego, which we know Gudo is a massive fan of, but doesn't want to go for that. He wants to try and be that good 2v2 partnership as he locks in Navai.
Yeah, pretty much expected. They have like so many different tools to be able to kill Corki and Jhin now. I think that like Mammoth is pretty happy with the first 4 they've gotten, and they'll be able to have like the counter pick for top lane, which is also really good. It was a little bit of a meme in the past where Thien would get solo killed every single game, but they'd end up winning. So we'll have to see with like Renekton, like this is his debut. We'll have to see like what he's able to do.
It's big shoes to fill for sure, right? Likes of Renekton coming into Tien, who, as we've said before, is obviously very proficient in being a carry player, but would love to play a Poppy whenever given a chance. There's the brand as well. I was wondering, what would we see from Shernfire? I am glad, though, he gets to showcase that I am the MVP for a reason in this position, and I'm going to clear, I'm going to gank, I'm going to make my lanes win.
Yeah, I think this is one of Shern's like biggest strengths. Is his pathing and his like camp efficiency is really, really good. I think that like farm heavy metas is where he shines, and you'll probably see like this. I think you'll be able to find like quite a sizable CS lead when just absolutely nothing is happening. It's one of his strengths, and like I think that like with these strong laners, he doesn't really need to rely on them, being sufficient. They're just going to be able to do that through individual skill, and he's just happy to get to his own vice.
Well, I suppose talking then about the comps as a whole and comparing them side by side, I think you look at Granzor and say, yeah, look, they have fit the bill of what has been their go-to. You think of champions like the Poppy, like the brand. Obviously, we're still confused about the need to lock in the Corki Jhin at such a high priority, but for Mammoth, it's a clear ability to lock down, right? Nautilus, Ahri, Vi, you find that champion like the Corki, that champion is gone.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that like GZ's 4-5 was really, really good answer. I think like the counter dive, like in Brand and Poppy, is a really good answer to Mammoth, who are short range outside of Jinx. Like they're pretty much forced to dive onto these carries, or they will lose. And the answers that they've shown are just like extremely good at dealing with dive. I do favor Ground Zero's draft. I feel like Mammoth needs to get on the front foot in the early game and like be able to snowball through their mid jungle.
Well, it does seem like the concern, right? Because whilst you do have the tools, if you don't have the damage or the creativity from warding or map openings by taking down turrets or whatever it may be, it's going to be incredibly hard to try and find an avenue to actually try and target the likes of this Corki Jhin or anybody else for that matter. We know obviously just how good the likes of a Poppy can be for knocking back multiple members. And Leona, it's been a hot minute since we've seen an aggressive support in that position. Yes, we've got the Nautilus. Yes, we've had, murmurs of blitzcrank and whatnot, but there's nothing that I enjoy more than just Leona jumping in, the Sunfire proc from a Jhin, and you get like one shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think Leona's my all-time favorite support. Playing back in the day with Eldoric, I would just be like, please lock it in, road mid. It's like it's always good. Leona's like never really in a bad position. It just relies on your enemy like picking, the melee. You do want to burst melee a lot as Leona, just so you have an easy time in lane. And you're just that absolute brick that just does not die.
Stands and delivers and gets to punish if you make that mistake. Well, let's see who will be making a mistake, who will flourish as we enter into another brand new split of the LCO with new faces, old faces, but some of that good old League of Legends that you've come to know and love. down under. Let's see then, anything crazy from the level 1 mark. Usually speaking, we say not much happens during the regular split. If anything, tends to happen during the playoffs when people get a little bit more nervous on stage. But once upon a time, we do get a little check-in where players say, you know what, it's day 1. I don't care, let's send it.
Yeah, it's pretty rare now. We don't really see level 1s happening from host teams. I think back in the day, you would see it a lot. Like teams would really do their scouting and abuse where people would stand level 1s. As we do see Thean walking into the red here, probably just scouting, but maybe he does want to fight a little bit.
Yeah, he's just going to bop him on his head. Welcome Reneko to the lane. And to the league, for that matter as well, is actually takes place in the bot lane too. His voice starts it up, Kurek responds back, and with that auto from Limes, makes sure that the trade is even. So both supports down to 50, potions are ticking, and it's the race to get level 2.
I do want to touch on the Jhin. I think that like this is probably a champ who benefited from the crit chains like a lot, and like probably that's why they decided to prioritize it in draft so much. That Jhin is like a very slept on like crit abuser, and being able to have, you know, the 4 crit items into an extra damage item on Jhin is like his DPS is pretty much unmatched when it comes to late game.
As you mentioned, right, going from 20% back to 25, so 4 becomes, or 5 items becomes 4. The ability then to spike earlier, but also greed and build other stuff as well. Certainly is going to be a helping hand here as we have action from bot to top, into the top lane. Tien is looking to try and go for the solo bolo, but doesn't get the terrain stun, and Reneko now is going to start to answer back as both are bleeding low at 20%, and potions all across the map are being chugged.
Yeah, probably won't see any action more than this from top. Like both junglers were piling away. They do prioritize bot lane. It is an 80 carry meta. But you're going to have to see as Gunkrab does go low.
Oh no, he's hit the zap, but Kurek with 1 auto attack to spell disaster. It's not meant to go this way. Fantastic flash from Voice though to deny the double. But the Ground Zero bot lane, the reigning champions, they're online.
And there we go. Kurak's first game on GZ, finds first blood on the Leona. Double sums down on Jinx as well. It's going to be very, very hard for Gunkrab to navigate the rest of the laning phase now.
Very, very hard, as you say, right? It's not going to be easy for Voice to try and find any moment to try and be aggressive. Still has the Ignite available. Lima's only going to be able to respond back with that barrier, but now you're certainly relying on the Nautilus passive, and the Chomp is more than anything to say, stand back, I just want to farm.
I have to see if Thean does want to play for a 1-for-1 here. Like, he can deny the entire way, but it does go in and hits the slam. Easy as that.
There is no 1-for-1. It's literally, I will kill you and I will get out. From every part of this map, it's just a case of, this is the difference between you and I.
Easy as that. Welcome to the LCO.
Well, what a start, eh? What a start. I suppose mid lane is the most calm of it all.
Yeah, I don't really expect anything much to happen in this matchup, as we do have the replay here for the kill onto Gunkrab. I assume it was just a Leona E that hit and they chased him down, but you'll have to see. Exactly that. Flashes the hook. I mean, it's pretty much easy. Bread and butter, like, they've been in this scenario so many times, like, it's just too easy.
You would say it's pixel perfect to a degree in both the execution and the outplaying nature too. And certainly does add to the volatility of this bot lane. We know just how strong a Jinx can be given the time to get those 2 items online, but based on the buffs and the patch we're playing on, it's a world debut, isn't it? 14-10, nobody else in the world right now able to see what's being done. So to say that we are the Premier League for all your top level competition, but we're bloody entertaining, and you'll get to see what we do here.
Curious to see if, I mean, Gudo is forced to cover here because of Reneko being low, but we'll see if Shern does want to path up and punish here. I assume he won't. Like, he wants to be efficient with these camps, cycle them all the time. He's just going to bait Gudo into, like, wasting time covering here. And, you know, just constantly farm, you know, become as strong as he can on this brand.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously with that new addition in the jungle role. Basically an AP Balmy Cinder, hold that for 2 seconds because Voice has gone in, regrets it immediately, it gets punished by the full shot. Kurek across the wall says, where are you going, buddy? And he says right back to base, but Limis says, not if I can help it. Kurek tanking up the tower, not enough damage because they're only level 4, hits him with the fadeaway zap thereafter. And really are showcasing that, yeah, we might be a new bot lane pairing, but we're absolutely crushing it.
Oh, walking into Shern here.
We are walking into Shern, and Gudo, that is not the face check you want to do there, buddy. Fido, with 3 points into the Gatling gun, says you can face check me, but I'll win.
Yeah, curious to see, since Fido is deciding to go for the Halo Blades EMAX, if he wanted to go for the double lethality opener. I think that is Corky's strongest build right now, like going double lethality into full crit after that. I think that like it sort of cushions his early game a bit into the late game strength, but we'll see what he wants to do.
Billy has told us that he likes to experiment with weird and wacky things, and we've seen a whole host of different builds available online as to people figuring out what does this Corki build look like, be it mid lane or to where its rework is meant to be, with a lot of the AP ratios removed to try and favour it towards more physical damage. It's going to come back to lane now with that serrated Dirk to just try and snowball a little bit harder with the 10 CS lead he currently has. Bot lane, you'd say that Gunkrab has done a phenomenal job, despite being down all this pressure, is still keeping pace here with Limes, but I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon with their aggression. Level 6, only 1 level away. Yes, Flash may just be up in time, but Cleanse is not far away.
No vision. See if Shun does find the seconds.
Oh, I don't know if it's enough, Tally. I think it's too little too late. It's going to come up as he might just fall on down. Churn jumps in, puts into burn, gets him low, voice ticking down. Limes picks it up for his second of the game. And Gudo, unfortunately for him, second time in the area, just too little too late. Fido zapping on through, just hits him with the drive-by, and Kurek tanking up the tower. Perfect execution down to 30 HP. It's a double. It's an absolute disaster as the only kill goes the way of Voice.
Yeah, I mean, Ground Zero are just on the front foot this entire game, and they still have the late game as well. Like, this is kind of very scary to be a Mammoth fan here when you see how strong Ground Zero are in the early game. They're just constantly on the aggression. I think they're doing a really, really good job at snowballing like the double summoners that were blown early game. Gunkrab has pretty much been unable to like CS comfortably this entire time.
Yeah, it's been very rough. It's right back again, and it all stems from Kurek's this unbridled aggression, right? Every single time he gets an opportunity to go in, he takes it, and with the backing of his team, they're just winning.
Yeah, I mean, like, unfortunately, Shern did like decide to go for a bit of both instead of going for the Gunkrab, but Fido with mid priority rotates down, and it's just easy picking from there.
And here's easy pickings. So, one Serrated Dirk becomes 2 now, as he's got 2 kills to his name. Gudo conflicted. Do I go top? Do I go mid? Void Grubs get stolen. The Charm connects to knock up, and Schönfire may be dead. He's buying as much time as he can, and that forces Gudo to commit. So, Fido trades back from him, and then Tien roams from top into the river and says, well, I'll pick up an assist, because now my Corki has 4.
And Limus just 1v2. He just chads them off. Like, no, you can't dive me.
It's crazy. What is going on in this game?
And we have 1 Dirk for each hand in the mid lane.
It is unbelievable how this game is panning out. I'm sure Fido, probably the happiest of them all, right, is individually been phenomenal. Hasn't found himself in the strongest rosters as of late. I think we said he went on like an 8-loss streak to close out when he last played. But to have that level of faith shown in him and to hit a new champion, I mean, it's the same champion, just reworked slightly. The muscle memory is there, and the results are proving pretty successful.
Yeah, speaking of Fido, he's always been known as a strong laner. It's just his downfall was always his over-aggression. Like, he was always a pretty easy lane in the game, but, you know, that could come down to, like, his teammates not being able to support him properly. But, like, now he has Schönfire, like, he has the jungler. Like, if it's his time to find success, it's now.
Certainly is finding it then. A 6-0 combined score between both of those major carry threats as Tien is able to bully away Reneko back towards the fountain. That's going to open up even more of a CS deficit there, up by 25, which is monumental. And it's not going to stop the aggression taking place anywhere else on the map though, because Kurek, I mean, he's just got the Zenith Blade on a T. It's going in on CD. Solar Flare goes that, cleansed immediately by Gunkrab, who is so far back, he can't even get to his tower.
Yeah, and it's just like they've taken over the 3rd quadrant. We'll see if Gudo does want to go in here.
Oh no, he's missed the punch in. And that's actually overextended himself as a result of this one. Gudo has no ultimate. Has he baited his team in because Praetor across the wall has the ability to dash on through. Kurek with the flash to try and bait the position a little bit more. Limes with that 4th shot. Not enough to get Gunkrab low. He's down to 50, as is the Ari. And Voice, fresh off a reset, comes in. Chompers go down. Charm kill reset. We're getting excited. The Jinx is getting excited. And the Jinx is running away. Flash to deny the skill shot. Limes, with no mana, is waiting for that gun to reload. Out it comes. And Voice, you were grey a second ago. You're about to be grey again. And for you, Gunkrab, if it's not for my gun reloading, you're dead too.
Finds the auto in the end there. So unfortunate for Gunkrab. He all of us go down.
It's just comedy. It's comedy.
I respect the effort. You know, it works 1 in 100 games, you know? That could have been it, but unfortunately there is a pink ward.
That pesky ward, denying his ability to try and outplay with that cheeky Hex Flash. Well, let's check in with top lane again. As we mentioned before, this probably would be the biggest divide at the moment. Yes, you could say in isolation, Limus being up 5 kills is a pretty big deal, but I don't think top laners get their flowers as much as they deserve. Let's interrupt that. Check out the replay again.
Yeah, so this is just, you know, Shenpai overextending, doesn't have flash, being punished by the Vi. But I think this is just a bit of a gold gap. You know, GZ to show up and they're kind of muscling them out of their own jungle when they shouldn't be. You know, lower on health, down ultis. Nice hook by Voice here, finds Fighter as he does go down, and Lemus is like, hell no, boys. This is my job now. And you know, it's just a bit of a cleanup.
He was at the end of the day. Out of the replay, back to the same part of the map as the curtains get called. The double kill is found. It is a 7-1 Jhin. And now we understand that on this patch, in this player's hands, it may just be the best pick in the game.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, it's even hard to judge champion strengths based on how strong they are right now. I think that they're kind of just demolishing them as their teamwork is just a bit too good.
It certainly is too good. 5k is the lead right now. We're not even at 12 minutes into the game so far, and the reigning champions are showing why that trophy does reside with them at the moment. New players, but the same old outcome, it would seem, as Voice has to try and get a little bit creative to Valkyrie. Not even the ability to use flash there, the disrespect to say you will not land this hook. He gets away.
You know, I respect the try there. Like, that's what they have to do to be able to get back in the game. Like, they can't just, you know, play stock standard and hope they're just gonna, enemy team's gonna throw. Those are the kind of plays you need to do if you want to find success.
We're going to try and sneak their way in here to the Void Grubs to get a few of those to at least give themselves a fighting chance of taking down some towers, at least getting some, you know, objective bounties. 4 to the name so far, soon to be 5. That's a pretty big win. As that happens, the supports hold the wave in mid lane, but unfortunately for Voice, he has no disengage. So he'll get stunned, and he'll just get smashed on down by 2 major damage threats.
Do you think next game, Voice could be like, alright, Gunkrab, it's your turn. I'm playing AD now. I don't want to deal with this.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, honestly, that would definitely add a level of spice to their combo as to how do you draft against this team. But hold on a second, Fido's picked up the collective. He collects a kill into an Echo. Predator is dashing left, right instead of looking like a cute anime girl and gets it done. That's his third of the game. The role swap player is looking to try and be the beacon of hope for their team right now because his lane is getting absolutely crushed. Just at a range as Gunkrab, as Lemus is forced to run away. The rocket is not lethal, and he gets to limp out on 50 health. Can you believe it, Tally? Goodo's gonna die. He's pissed off, and Voice, he's stunned in place. Gunkrab left, right, he cannot dash, he cannot deny, as the curtain takes 2 again.
Oh, just a smidgen away, and that auto would have landed onto Lemus, and it would have been a completely different fight. But once again, like, this is just these tiny little gaps that are being abused. Like, Lemus just walking under turret net and playing so aggressive and getting away with it just because he's so strong.
But does this not just feel like the most classic OS game, right? Where we aren't just having an AFK farm fest till 25 minutes. You know, we're just in and we're fighting, right? The fact that we have 29 kills in only 14 minutes. Yes, you could argue it's first day jitters, but for me, it's a case of showcasing, look, there's a big canyon separating our 2 teams.
I mean, this is why OS is just the greatest region in the world. Like, you couldn't find entertainment like this anywhere else.
Well, physically they can't because their leagues haven't even started yet, so they're going to have to come and watch us. You know, there's no arguing with those kind of facts. But for me, look, you hate to be a caster and say this game is looking a little bit doomed, but to check the scoreboard, to be down 8,000 gold, you're not even at 15 minutes yet, you see a Jhin that is 10-1. This is a classic Lemus where he's posting a solo queue screenshot showcasing just how good he is. Because Fido in the side lane, he's getting it done. A TP to back him up, Voice rocks up, says, I could try and stop you down, but actually he's going to get dived as well. Voice has not had a welcome introduction to playing the supportive position. Ooh. Fido, what are we doing? Now he's playing Kirak. He's the one tanking up the towers. The rogue hook from a mile away. He tried. Oh, the rocket! The rocket from downtown to try and snipe it, but they just can't get anything.
It's so hard to find like any window. Like, all these champs are so hard to kill. The damage they're putting out is insane. Like, honestly, Corki is not fair. Like, we just saw the damage he did to Ari there. That shouldn't be in the game. As hello.
That is not fair too, Tally. We've talked about Corki. There's Jhin. There is Jhin. Now 12-1. At what point do we start to say riot?
AD carry's fine, guys. I promise you it's not broken.
It needed to be buffed, okay? It needed to be buffed because it was far too weak. We've made it easier for them to level, so they're not going to be down, what, 2 levels to their top laners. They're going to have even more gold. They're going to have a Zephyr if we even reach level 15. I don't think that's required, quite honestly, because Fido's just walking into a bruise and saying, huh?
Just
you have no completed item, man!
face tank every Q, out damage him. Easy. You know, okay, honestly, the best thing about the AD carry changes is, like, I'm so happy to see all, like, the AD carry players on Twitter just stop, like, the, where, my role is so bad. Like,
We
they
love a
can't
good
talk
Twitter
anymore.
rage post. We love a rage post. But, look, they're going to try and rage into this team fight because Mammoth surrounded by 4. Try to take down a lonely Leona support. Look how long!
Oh.
There's no way. There's no... Look at the smile on this man's face. He knows. How did I, as a Leona, get 1 in a 1v4?
I couldn't tell you, Skinny, honestly. I don't know how he did it either.
That's broken.
Kurek is just him.
He is him. This is why he got paid the big bucks and got the contract to join this team. Gun Crab, oh no. Just play safe mid, guys.
Honestly, like, okay, if we look at it a bit, like, more seriously, like, Mammoth are in a really hard spot. All they can really do is catch waves in an aggressive manner to hopefully bait Ground Zero to, like, overextend and chase them like this, and allow other lanes to push out. As you can see, like, 2 are showing bot here, which means Praedyth and topside is allowed to get more control of his lane, and in transition from that, like, Voice could walk in topside, get vision, just a little win, like a little tiny win, but there's not really much you can do when you have 3 lanes of no prio in this kind of game state where, like, champs can easily 1v2 you.
Well, this is the kind of game where we can talk about Hopium and say, well, if they can get an objective bounty, if they can get a champion bounty, maybe, just maybe, there's a world in which we can keep this one competitive. But they're down by so much gold. Shern's already picked himself up the Magi, 16 stacks, because he wants us to remember that he's also a major focus of this comp, whereas we look at the likes of the Corki and Jin and say, wow, how impressive is that? Tien is getting excited as a carry top lane Poppy. And you're thinking, where does Mammoth find their opening? Because as far as objectives go, I mean, the Dragon is there, but I don't really think Ground Zero care about getting the Soul. It's a distant afterthought. They'd rather get kills.
Yeah, and Fighter is, like, playing this pretty impeccably. Like, he's not allowing Mammoth to find the pick onto him to be able to get back into the game. He's respecting, you know, even when they're ahead so far, like, he's still playing with as much caution as possible. Praedyth is really committing to this play. He's been in this push for a long time. We'll see if Fighter does overextend here.
Stop playing the Jaws music. Da 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 da. Would he face check? Oh no, Praedyth! You had one opportunity. You waited so long and you've missed the charmer. He's flashed. Oh, just out of range. Dashing from that rocket that would have been lethal. Fido is eventually going to fall on down. The shutdown connecting by Goodo, who finds his third of the game and gets a bunch of gold.
Nothing feels worse than playing safe for that long, and they're just there the whole time. As no, does go out.
Unfortunately for Voice, he can't really play as safe as he would like because he flashes out of one thing, still cops a whole bunch of damage as they continue to siege. 4v5 in the mid lane. They're not going to really be too deterred by the fact that you have a numbers advantage because they have a wallet advantage.
I'm talking about wallet advantage. I'm a bit curious about, like, the individual gold leads right now. I want to see if Jin is up, like, 6,000?
Here we go. Let's see. Oh. Ooh, you were right on the money. And your prize today is getting to cast the LCO. Up by 6,000 gold is Limes. Where's the screenshot? Somebody has to screenshot this because this is a crime.
I think this might be a record, honestly. Like,
maybe.
Biggest individual gold lead at, like, this time of the game. That's insane.
That is insane. I can't think of anything from distant memory that rivals it. I mean, we talk about things like Flame Horizons, right? Being up by 100 CS, but to be up by this much gold, Praedyth. Nowhere on this map is safe right now. Literally, where you're getting run down by Leona.
Oh boy.
Where the observers can't keep up with the pace. I mean, are we looking at top? Is Voice dying? Is Reneko dying? Well, unfortunately, for them anyway, both of them are dying. And look, these respawn timers are getting longer and longer, and maybe that's a good thing, as they can try and recompose themselves to get ready for what their game 2 looks like.
Yeah, honestly, like, at least Mammoth are making them work for it, you know? Like, they're not just, like, falling over, giving them the Nexus for free. They're still making them chase them around, you know, good on them. But we'll see if GZ is able to close out the Baron with, the game with 1 Baron. I think they're going to get Baron, reset, and they should be able to do it with 1 push, but, you know, anything can happen in Oceania, as we were seeing.
Well, so it can. Yeah, I mean, really running out of things to try and describe this one, right? It's definitely a case of we tried to cook, it's not worked, we're paying the price now, and we have to endure the suffering that is this game. 20 minutes, 43 kills. Goodo jumps in, instantly gets stunned, hits the ultimate. Voice says, I'll back you up. They both fall on down as a result. The Herald is connected. Voice surrounded by the entirety of Grand Zero and realizes that I can't engage if my team's not there to back me up. Reneko says, how about I go in? Single file, 1 by 1. He tries to dash across the wall, stands and delivers. pretends to cosplay a red buff camp and dies for a triple as Phyto and Lemus are basically in a battle to see who can get more kills.
Was just the flash charm coming here, but I don't think they have the damage to follow it up.
Well, there's an ace. There is
There's
our
an ace.
first ace of the second split of this year. And what a welcome introduction. If you're a long-time LCO viewer, welcome back. I'm sure you're used to this kind of carnage and chaos, but if you're a new viewer checking out what's happening in the league circuit for Split 2, well, this is what we like to do down under. We have massive divides like this. Your reigning champions in Ground Zero showcase why that is, as they win in only 21 minutes.
What a showing, honestly, from GZ. I think that, like, even though it was a stomp, you got to give it to them. They had a really, really good showing in the early game, abusing their like priority and just the individual prowess to create advantages over the map.
Well, back to the drawing board then for the likes of Mammoth. They've tried to give us something a little bit different on this occasion, but it wasn't anything enough to challenge the might that is a Ground Zero. For them, it just looks like a scrim game. Worked up a bit of a sweat, had a bit of a laugh in the process, built up some confidence too, and maybe doubled down on all that scrim practice leading into this opening week. At the break, it is Ground Zero leading